Hello.
We got Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody, why do you sound like an old prospector? Like, what is going on
But I do declare we have Aaron Perrine.
Salty Substitute Edition is here. Jim said yes.
It's giving Doug Dimmadome.
Oh, owner and proprietor of the Disney Dimmadome.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Somebody's got some odd parents. Yeah, I'm just going to do the whole episode as Doug Dim. I don't even know Steve Carell's the office guy. That I do declare episode 4 of What If season 2 is tremendous. You don't have to say you declare by saying it. You are just making... Anyway, this is the episode where we're going to talk about season 2 of What If, episodes 4 through 6. Episodes 1 through 3, episode of Phase 0 is already available. Episode 4... Now, these are not the official episode titles, so if I'm incorrect on this, as I was last week, let me know. But episode 4 is What If Tony Stark crash landed on Sakaar and met the Grandmaster. Episode 5, What if Peggy Carter was the Winter Soldier, or Steve Rogers in the Winter Soldier, basically. And episode 6, what if the Tesseract got sent to Earth and Kahori became a superhero? So that's the unofficial episode titles as I refer to them in my head.
Would you like to know the official episode titles? I have them in front of me.
Because I butchered. I know I massacred them.
We were close in the first one. What if Iron Man crashed into the Grandmaster? So that's what I think we said. The next one is what if Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper? And then what if Kahori reshaped the world?
It's a little cheesy. All right. We'll start with episode 4. We'll take a quick break, and then episode 5. Take a quick break, and then episode 6. You know the drill. We like to give our reactions, recap the episodes, talk about little Easter eggs, details, things we caught. You know, that's what we do here on the Phase Zero. So we're going to keep doing it now. Episode 4, Tony Stark lands on Sakaar, meets the Grandmaster. Aaron, you're at the top of the screen. Did you enjoy it?
I did. One of my favorite weird things from that first Avengers is him falling back through the portal after throwing that nuke at the Chitauri people, which I'm sure, sometime in Phase 8 will get them coming back to be angry at Tony Stark, which is just a running theme of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But it is fun. Goldblum's obviously having a great time, just an amazing time doing this, which is part of the appeal. Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I'm sure we'll have a lot of thoughts about the racing genre and the wacky races, N64 Star Wars racing game potential of all of this.
I agree. Jamie, what'd you think?
I enjoyed this one. I think it was a really good one to drop on Christmas Day, because Christmas to me has not been about watching Christmas stuff. It's about watching like blockbusters and like the movies you got for Christmas and the big movies. And this had that feel to it. As I love Ragnarok, so that was really fun to see kind of an alternate. But ultimately, like Aaron said, it's all about Jeff Goldblum, baby. I love that man so much. And the way he delivers just as much in voice role as he does normally is just spectacular. Also, I love Topaz, and I'm glad we got more Topaz. So that was I enjoyed it.
Jenna, what'd you think?
So I'm going to slip into the role that Jamie had in our last episode. This is my least favorite episode of the season. I still like a lot of it. If you told me when I saw the trailer, and if you told me in season 1 when we knew there was a Gamora episode we didn't get yet, that this would be my least favorite episode, I would not believe you. But there are parts of it that I thoroughly enjoy. I just think compared to the rest of the season, it doesn't hit the same way for me. And I also think having so many jokey characters together and having Gamora be a side character in the episode, even though she does end up playing a bigger role in this whole franchise, having everyone be so jokey, it just almost felt like the clips of like sitcoms without the laugh tracks. And it was just kind of like, all right, it's getting a little tiring. I still enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as other episodes.
Wow, Jenna hates Iron Man.
I would like to agree with Jenna that I do think this was one of the bottom tier. I do agree with that. But even though I like it was fun. But also I do want to say at this point with the binging, I was kind of exhausted.
This was only episode 4.
I know, and I was like, okay, I need a break. The daily drop really is something to be desired. I wish that we had that.
So full disclosure, we watched all 9 episodes because we were planning on recording all of our bonus episodes last week, and then we didn't. we were like, let's just wait and give ourselves time to actually appreciate the episodes. So we rushed through all of them for no real reason, actually. But we watched them and we got it done and we tried to enjoy it all. I'm not a binger either. I do agree. I wasn't feeling that yet, but I think with like the next one, the one after, and then 7 as well, I started just being, oh my gosh. But then I felt like it really picked up towards the end of episode 6, 7, 8, 9. Like I started to kind of get back into it, maybe because I knew we were nearing the end. But I don't know. It's the binging this. The daily release is better. Yeah. I love this episode. It's one of my top 4 in the season. I love Iron Man. I thought he was so well written. The quips were great. I thought Jeff Goldblum's Grandmaster was fantastic. I did find it odd that Gamora is definitely not the main character of this episode. I wouldn't even say second main character of this episode. Certainly the character who has like the arc of the episode, but as like a third supporting character. I found it interesting that as the missing episode from season 1, this Gamora, rather than this Tony Stark, is the one who went on to be the Guardian of the Multiverse character. I thought it was going to be a Gamora-centric episode, but it was definitely Iron Man-centric, which I'm cool with.
They kept referring to it as the Gamora episode.
Yeah.
So it would be fine with her going off to join the Guardians of the Multiverse, but it is odd because I would call it the Sakaar episode or the Ragnarok episode, but I think it is weird that for like 2 years we've been hearing about this lost Gamora episode.
Yeah, and I think that's just because people were like, well, why did we get an episode about every other Guardian of the Multiverse, but not this Gamora character? So they're like, well, that Gamora episode is coming, and that just became what it was referred to, which ends up making this feel weird because it's definitely Iron Man is the main character, which I love, again, but it is interesting that he's not the one who goes on. Gamora is, which is whatever. I would love this ending of this episode is fantastic. The fact that Gamora kind of has the arc of breaking free of Thanos, which is something we talked about with episode 1, like what happens with Nebula when she breaks free of Thanos. She becomes this really noble, Nova Corps member and doesn't live under Thanos's abusive thumb. Gamora now is going to break free of Thanos and goes on to become a member of the Guardians of the Multiverse. That ending was great where Tony's just like, all right, G, let's do this. And then she attacks him with Topaz's little staff. I thought that. Did you guys stay through the credits of this one?
No.
Oh my gosh. No. There's a credit scene with Grandmaster as all gooeyed up, and he's like, well, I could use a mop maybe, but I can't do a Jeff Goldblum. I can't even try to do a Jeff Goldblum impression. He's too unique of a voice. But it's just a funny little bit with the melted Grandmaster saying like, I need a bucket and a mop. Ew, like the Jeff, as only Jeff Goldblum could do. But I thought this episode was fantastic. That's where I'm at with it. But also, Jamie, there was a Coulson reference.
Remind me. I'm sure I was excited in the moment.
Well, it's a kind of a heavy Coulson reference because this is the day after the Battle of New York. And when
he said he lost someone.
I lost a friend. Yeah, that's a reference to Coulson.
Yes, I did think, Coulson died. You're right. I feel like honestly, I feel like I watched this 7 years ago.
I did think, Coulson died.
I really did like that it started with him not falling into the portal. I like that being I think that should have been the name of the episode. What if Tony Stark didn't make it back through the portal? Because I think that is the catalyst for all of this, and I think that was really cool.
Jeff Goldblum was hilarious. Throwing chinchillas was I was cackling at some of the stuff they were doing. I thought when Tony called Korg Mount Rushmore, I got a kick out of that. Hunger Games released in 2012, just before the events of New York.
Mm-hmm. So, I was thinking about that too. I was like, wow, Tony really kept up with his YA, like in between if he's able to, because I swear he references it like twice. And so I was like, wow, he like should not know this early on in 2012.
Tony and Gamora being locked in that little romantic bedroom, clear, got to be a comics reference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those two got together for a bit there in the books.
Yeah.
I thought maybe. I was like,
I would have liked that. But
Tony Stark pulls.
Anything
We've
sexy
seen it.
I'm into, so.
Yeah. Let's see it. Let's see it.
Normally I would advocate for that, but especially this being the Christmas Day episode, I am thankful that did not happen because I would feel so bad for everyone watching this with all of their family and having that happen.
See, this billionaire human man and that green alien woman, well, love is love. Whatever. If
Listen,
it was directed by Zack Snyder,
oh,
boy.
Jamie's making a face like she had to
Oh,
lick
boy.
the street.
if you want to watch two animated characters doing it, go watch Harley Quinn.
Oh man, this was a Lego set. This episode was already a Lego set, which I don't own, but now I want to because I was kind of not high on What If in season 1. That's no secret, and this year I'm fully coming around. I think that this show has. I don't know what it is. Maybe my expectations have changed. Maybe the show has leveled up. Maybe both. But I'm really enjoying this season. Iron Man flying out of that suit or that thing and then becoming like doing the in-flight Transformers to the race car. Loved it. Thought it was awesome. Makes me want. Hot Toys revealed the Sakaar and Hulkbuster thing. I'm like, man, yeah, it's gonna be. I want it though. I want it. It made me want it.
One thing I want to say is I think Cynthia K. McWilliams is a great voice actor. She just did Vicky Vale in Merry Little Batman, so she's in the scene. But like, it was distracting to me how much she did not sound like Zoe Saldana. Because I think like Mick playing Tony, he sounds so much like him that I feel like they didn't necessarily try as hard, which isn't that big of a deal because again, you're not doing an impression. You don't get hired as a voice actor to do an impression. But it was very much like, oh, this is not the Gamora we know.
Yeah, when it's a different actor and they don't sound like the character, like even a little bit, it takes me out. It does take me out a little bit. I mean, Valkyrie didn't sound too different. But different enough.
It was Tessa. It was Tessa.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. I was like, was that?
I've never said this out loud, but I'm gonna do it right now, and I'm gonna speak my truth because you guys know I love Valkyrie and I love Tessa Thompson. I think Tessa Thompson is amazing. I love watching her play Valkyrie. She's phenomenal, but I've always had a little bit of a problem with her accent. I don't know if she's like doing kind of a British thing, but I've always found it to be a little off. So Brandon not knowing it was actually her, it doesn't surprise me. All the love to Tessa, love her, love Valkyrie, wouldn't trade her for the world, but the accent is a little.
Does she have an accent in real life?
No, she's no.
Yeah, no. Well, okay.
I don't know why they made Valkyrie. I don't know.
Regalness. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
We're dumb Americans.
You gotta sound real William Regal.
Can we talk about something that I know like Adam desperately wants us to mention on this podcast, where the Valkyrie and Tony of it all, where the actual only time we ever heard the words demon in a bottle spoken in the MCU?
I threw that assignment into our thing at work because that was I was like, we finally hear the words demon in a bottle, and it's on an episode of What If, and it's not even in reference to Tony.
And Tony takes one shot and falls out of the bar.
Yeah.
That man, we all know that man can hang with earth alcohol, but space juice gets him rocked.
Space juice
gets him in that Stan Lee off the Thor juice in Avengers 2. Excelsior. It's not made for mortals. All right, well, that's What If episode 4. That's pretty much I think we have to say about that one, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, I just want to emphasize how cool the ending was.
The ending was great.
Teaming up, going to Thanos, that was awesome. So I do want to stress that. When I saw Josh Brolin's name in the credits, I was like, yep. But I kind of wish that we didn't get the names before. I agree.
I like knowing it because it's been this fun little game, like rewatching it for me and having Chris watch it the first time and having him like make a face of like, this person's in this episode. That's cool. Like he did that with the next episode that we're going to talk about, of seeing a certain person's name in the credits. And it was like, how is she going to fit into this? So I like that they do it. I get not wanting it, but I think it's fun.
Yeah. Well, the next one is a perfect place to talk about that. Let's do that in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're talking about Peggy Carter filling in for the Winter Soldier role. See you in a moment. Welcome back to Phase Zero. What if Peggy Carter basically played the role of Steve Rogers in Captain America: The Winter Soldier? It seems like these What If shows are kind of giving Captain Carter each Captain America movie in a sense, and then adding to them with like very first episode of What If Peggy Carter became Captain Carter. It was basically Captain America: The First Avenger, and now we have her kind of carrying out a version of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Me hopes that season 3 sees the Civil War episode with Captain Carter. Ooh, saucy! That'd be so good. I want it. I want it. I need it. AC Bradley, Brian Andrews, Matthew Chauncey, you watching? Oh, it's not too late. Go at it. This episode, I actually quite enjoyed this episode. I gotta say, I like the original episodes more. I find myself less interested when they're just remixing stories that we already saw with what if this character carried out that role. So for the Winter Soldier parts, I was like, oh, this is nostalgic, this is fun, I'm enjoying it. But then I liked it more when they got to the parts that were just more original and involved the Red Room. And it's also the first What If episode to reference Phase 4 events, right? I don't think anything so far, because this had the Black Widow movie references with the Red Room and Melina, all that stuff. I don't think anything before this referenced anything post Infinity Saga.
I don't think so, no.
So that's cool too. Jenna, what do you think of the episode?
I loved this episode. As a huge Winter Soldier fan, I liked going back to the things that we did. In the same way that I said that episode 2 just feels like fan fiction in the best way, I love having fanfic of Winter Soldier through this lens of having Bucky be older and what does that look like if he's the secretary. I thought that was a really nice touch. And all of the Widow stuff and all of the just kind of threading that needle was really, really cool. And we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording, but Peggy and Natasha are in love and you cannot convince me otherwise.
I thought maybe. I thought maybe. Not gonna lie. Jamie, what'd you think?
I agree. They definitely like had that chemistry, and I think that is to a nod to Winter Soldier, because Nat and Cap had really good chemistry in that movie. Not necessarily like the point where we're like shipping them, but they still had it. I mean, they do kiss, even if it's just for espionage reasons. So I definitely felt that as well. I liked this episode. I think most people can agree, or at least wouldn't argue too strongly, that Winter Soldier is the best MCU film. I personally think it is, and so it is cool to go back to that. I do agree with Jenna though that some of it is. I think the first half of the episode was like, this is a lot of stuff I've kind of seen before, but then when we got to the Widow stuff, oh, mommy is back. You know I love Rachel Weisz. I love that she did this. I enjoyed her whole little crew. So that was very exciting. But of course, for me, it was all about that end tag. It was all about that ending, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But I got my girl, because Elizabeth Olsen wasn't in the first season because we just had Zombie Wanda. So we didn't know if she was going to voice Wanda in this season. So that was very exciting. I was very happy with that. I also do want to add that I really love that this is like Peggy's show in a way, that she's the story that gets carried through. And I think that's really neat. And I like that it's not every episode. It's just like we check back in. And I think that's a really cool device to make this show make you wanting to come back. But if you don't really like her, then it's not the whole show. Although if you don't like her, I don't understand you.
No, I agree. I think Captain Carter as kind of the through line for the show is really nice. It works really well. Aaron, what'd you think?
To echo what Jamie and Jenna said, I was waiting on the escalator so hard. I was like, where's the escalator? Where are the baseball caps? What the heck is happening? What is going on? I also want to say maybe the What If team should be in charge of getting people back for Secret Wars, because apparently they can just call anyone and they will just show up and record something crazy in their closet. That was kind of really, really awesome. I like the tone. Of course, we love Sebastian Stan playing a significantly older man and kind of doing it. There's Hydra Stomper stuff following up in the first season. Really, really cool. I will say the funniest part about me as a person is that when we got to the weird Red Room, like fake Nuketown A location, that's like where it happens, I thought for sure that they would have brainwashed Elizabeth Olsen and that she would have been a widow in this fake 1950s thing. Because I was like, this is Westview. Like, what's going on here? Is that what's going to happen? And then it didn't. And I was like, dang it. But still pretty awesome.
I definitely got some strong Westview vibes.
See, that is why I like that we see the credits ahead of time, because then, like, for Chris, it became this guessing game of, like, why is Elizabeth Olsen in this episode? Like, he told me afterwards he thought it would be just some, like, A-Force scene that was, like, some gratuitous, like, girl team up. And instead it's like, no, we get the 1602 stuff. But that would have been really cool if she was in the Widow program. I want to see that now.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening? I'm like, what are we gonna get, like, the TV cut off and it's gonna be Kat Dennings? Like, well, find out next time. I thought that's what was gonna happen, and it didn't, which is sad. Maybe me and Jamie are the same way, but we're just like, where's Wanda? I know you're hiding her back there. I know you got more of it.
I kind of skipped over this. I want to go back to the very beginning of the episode, the Avengers assembling, but with Captain Carter and the Wasp in an Ant-Man colored Wasp suit. I thought that was really cool, and I just love seeing that. I think that when they assemble these teams, I get a kick out of it. I really love the relationships between the superheroes and the kind of recreation of some of those iconic moments with Captain Carter in Steve's place, with Black Widow and stuff.
I will argue the Wasp color scheme is also just her color scheme in the comics. Like, Ant-Man does not have a monopoly on that color scheme. So I like seeing that, especially knowing that there was a version of Avengers that had Wasp in it. Like, I'm glad we ultimately didn't get that, but it's cool to see, like, what that would have looked like.
Jenna, is this an allusion to the fact that she has 18 gajillion costumes and, like, 3 of them are, like, awesome, and the rest of them are just, like, whatever?
Absolutely, yes.
It also, I felt like I remember that Joss Whedon considered including the Wasp in the Avengers lineups. I think it was Age of Ultron. I don't think it was it the first Avengers?
It was the first one. There was a version of the first one, and it was going to be Zoe Deschanel was like what he was kind of writing.
New girl.
And then he wrote that script, and then he was like, "This is all just a Wasp movie, and is not actually becoming an Avengers movie." And so it kind of pivoted away from there.
What an interesting what if. What if that had happened? The whole world would be different. New girl would be the Avenger. What are my notes here? Catching Steve and Peggy was super dope. I wrote down.
Yes, that scene was.
Oh, that's right. When Natasha flew the ship and caught them in the back of it, that was pretty cool. Their song. Oh yeah, the song they played when they were in that. What were they in? Like a little gazebo.
Yeah.
The Endgame song played. Took me right back. Melina is ready for a fight. I wrote down. Red Room falls from the sky, just like in the movie, but also just like the ships in the Winter Soldier. So ultimately, a similar climax to the Captain America: The Winter Soldier movie. What else do I have here? Oh, Peggy picks up Natasha instead of Natasha picking up Steve in the sexy black Corvette in Washington D.C. If you remember that, that's after the On Your Left thing. I remember when Natasha pulled up in that black Corvette. That was special to me.
I like it. Because in the movie he's running and she's like, no, I don't run. I like that.
It is interesting because in the MCU, the Reign of Marvel Studios book, they do talk about how like that scene was supposed to be even like sexier. Like she was supposed to be in like tennis whites and like super like. And I'm so glad they didn't do that because it would have made this version even weirder. But yeah, I'm glad that we had an homage to that little moment.
Nah, it didn't need to be any sexier. Like when I was driving that car, if she pulled up and was like, get in, I'd be like, where are we going? I don't care. I don't care.
She just Thelma and Louises you off a cliff. You're like, all right, this is fine.
Here we go.
I died doing what I loved.
I got my friend with me. It's a 2-seater. Whoops. We're off. All right. Well, yeah, I was ready for the elevator fight. And before we get started, anybody want to get out? Didn't happen for Captain Carter. This Captain Carter character is fantastic. I remember this debate was settled, I think, if Captain Carter is the same Captain Carter from Earth 838. I remember somebody weighed in on that, and I don't remember what they said.
I want to think that it's not the same, but I don't know.
The one that got cut in half?
Yes.
No, I don't think it's the same one.
No.
I'm just going to say right now, the answer is no. I'm just
I feel like the Watcher would have stopped that from happening. He would have been like, not on my watch. She's going to be okay. She's my friend. Because he does say at the start of this episode, like, there are many Captain Carters, but, like, only one of them is my friend that I have, like, a connection with. So, yeah. God, that would suck if it was the same version.
No, I'm sorry. That's not.
No.
This is what Michael Waldron told IGN. I don't know. I'm reticent to canonize that either way. I hope not. I hope that's not the one. That'd be too bad.
Wow.
One of us.
Also, can I just say Josh Keaton did a very good job as Steve, especially in this episode. Like he grew on me much more than he has the previous times that he's been Steve. But I think as skinny Steve and in the context of the episode, I think he did a good job.
Refresh my memory. Why is Steve so damn evil?
Didn't he get kidnapped by the Red Room? He
He
basically fell into the ice on a mission with Bucky.
Yeah.
And he got programmed. That's right,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Old Hydra Stomper Steve. What a guy.
Can I say there's something weird just for me, and maybe it's like 4% of our audience out there, seeing the inside of the Cleveland Museum of Art again when they're flying through it and wrecking it was like very strange. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, that's right. Shield is supposed to be CMA. That's so freaking weird. So strange. And it's like frame perfect. I went and Googled the image. I'm like, yep, that's the atrium. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah. Attention to detail.
It's true.
All right, y'all. Well, that's our What If Episode 5 recap. If you want to talk more, hit us up on the comments or on social media. Anything else we want to talk about from this episode before we move on?
I just want to say that cliffhanger was because I got so hyped for 1602. I really love that comic, but I mean, I'm excited to talk about that episode. But once we get to our next one, I do have something funny to say about that cliffhanger.
The characters at the end. I know we got Scarlet Witch. She wasn't alone, right?
She's with Fury.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So 1602 Fury with the twirly stash and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Samuel L. Jackson. Legend. All right. Yeah. So that is kind of the fun thing about What If, I think, that I'm really enjoying. These are obviously anthology episodes, but Captain Carter is on the through line, is kind of the connective tissue. Not all the episodes connect, but clearly this one, because it's Captain Carter, plays a part in. Everybody's asking, is there like a culminating event, much like season 1? And there is coming up. Like this does lead to something that, ties season 2 in a nice bow. And also, I think we'll get season 3. It'll be really cool too. So yeah, it is cool to see Captain Carter and these other characters show up and kind of play that role in tease stories in upcoming episodes, while also completely standing on their own. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, talk about episode 6 of What If season 2. See you in a moment. What if Odin and Surtur had beef a long, long time ago? Well, then we get Kahori in episode 6 of What If. Jenna, what do you think of this episode?
I loved this episode so much. This is easily one of my favorites of the entire season. I think, first of all, like the animation has been good all season, but the attention to detail in this one, the backgrounds looked like classic Disney paintings. Like they looked gorgeous. And I think that I'm always kind of on the fence about introducing new characters in superhero medium, but I think that the way that they make Kahori work, it is so brilliant. I want her in the comics. I want her everywhere. I think it is just such a cool addition and something that the MCU has earned the right to do at this point, and I think it's just such a beautiful episode.
Hey, Aaron, what do you think?
I mean, to shock no one who regulars this podcast, I really enjoyed this one. If this whole thing is supposed to be about exploring the superhero medium and doing things, and like you're gonna put all this budget towards stuff, why not push the boat out and really like go for it? And for a lot of our native listeners, for a lot of people online, this is going to be like a highlight of their year, right? Yeah. Like this is truly staggering. Jenna's right, like Autobahn level quality in the background. Like you can buy a weird painting of the forest that used to look just like this on Etsy for $45 plus shipping. Like it is very, very inventive, very, very good. I don't know if this will change because of all the slowing down or whatever. I really want to see this girl in the live action stuff, and the choice to have it all in Mohawk language, except for the Spaniards, is really delightful and interesting. Ariel was like, "Wait, really? We're just going to do this? All right!" Like because we are a captions household.
Yes.
So I was like, "Oh boy, all this reading! Oh, God! Oh, it's great!" So I really enjoyed it.
Interestingly enough, this Kahori character is voiced by Devery Jacobs, who is in Echo.
Yeah.
Which, not as Kahori, but is in Echo, which is interesting. Jamie, what do you think?
Loved it so much. I like what was said. I love that it was in the language. I loved that it was a new character. I mean, introducing a character in animation is awesome. We've talked about it before, but Harley Quinn was introduced in Batman the Animated Series, and now she's one of the most famous comics characters of all time. So I can't wait to see what happens with Corey. I'd love to see her on the page, and then eventually down the line earn the right to be in like live action. I just cannot wait to see where this character goes. I think she's really cool. I do have to say though, I Brandon told me to tell this story, so I'm gonna tell it. Which was I watched the first batch of episodes during work because I was in Florida visiting my mom. I had to squeeze in as much as I could. So after work, my best friend still lives in Florida, so my best friend and her boyfriend come over. We're drinking. We're having a great time. We're in my mother's spool, which is like a half pool, half hot tub. And just great. And then it's like, okay, it's literally 3 a.m. and I'm drunk. And I'm like, I gotta watch the next couple screeners. And I assumed, because the last episode ended on the 1602 cliffhanger, I just assumed it was gonna be 1602 next. And on a screener, it doesn't tell you the episode titles. So I hit play, and I'm looking at my computer, and I'm seeing subtitles, and I'm like, oh no. Oh, I gotta really re-up my attention span. So I'm like at my computer like this, like really focusing. But even despite the alcohol in my system, I loved it. I thought it was so good, so beautifully animated. I had a great time watching it. I cannot wait to watch it again when I have not been drinking. And in my defense, we were supposed to record these episodes the next day. I had to rush through it. So that's, if I had known, I would have waited.
I watched this episode again this morning without like the watermark of my name across the thing, so that if I took a picture, that Disney would come to my house and, I don't know, take my TV away, and a lot more than that, I think. But I enjoyed it more. It's not my favorite episode by any means. It's towards the bottom for me. I think it's because I love the Marvel of What If, and this felt like it just like this you could make this a Disney project and not be a Marvel show. And it is a Marvel show. At the end of the day, it's influenced by the Tesseract. Visually, it was incredible. I thought the like Kahori standing in front of the flames was so cool. There was a lot of cool stuff, cool messages in this episode. I love the fact that they're taking chances and doing new characters. That said, my favorite thing about What If is that it spends time with kind of characters that are variants of characters we spend time with, and we get to see them written consistently by the version of them that we saw already. So overall, I liked it more the second time when I wasn't kind of burned out from the binge. It's still not in my top episodes for the season, but I thought it was all right. It was cool. Kind of where I'm at. Interesting that she got the powers of both Pietro and Wanda, right?
Yeah.
But it came from the Space Stone, and their powers come from the Space Stone or the Mind Stone?
Wasn't it the Mind Stone?
Yeah, Mind Stone.
I was gonna say they got their powers from the Space Stone too, but then I was like, wait a second, no, it came from the Mind Stone and that Hydra bunker, because they had Loki's scepter, which had the Mind Stone. Yeah. Well, yeah. I also like very, very, very powerful characters are hard for me to connect with, and Kahori is super damn powerful very quickly. And I like, whether it's Superman or Captain Marvel or anything, like somebody that's that powerful, it's sometimes hard for me to really, really connect in a way. I don't know, man. I noticed that about myself when I'm consuming superhero media. So I just felt like I never felt like Kahori was in really danger. But man, she ended that man for real on the beach. Could you imagine if they actually showed that shot? That was vicious. I was like, yo, that's pretty badass. That was cool. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I liked in the episode, but overall, I like the Marvel stuff of What If quite a bit, and I thought this felt more just Disney than Marvel in general.
I don't think there's a problem with that. Like, I think that there's a beauty to doing that, and like we were saying, like they've more than earned the right to like completely do something new and still have it tied to the larger lore. Like, I totally get your argument, but I think like it didn't feel any different to me than from like reading a comic in the 70s or 80s and seeing like an entirely new character debut in an entirely new corner of the Marvel canon that like never existed before. Like, this just felt like an extension of that.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's really cool, especially just because it's not something they've ever done before, and this is the perfect medium to do it. And it was cool to see something so different. And that's the beauty of like 9 episodes of a cartoon. One can be absolutely its own crazy new thing, and I think that's what makes this show worthwhile, is that you never know what's coming, and the more different they get, the more invested I am. I think we've said it a lot, but this season really, it makes me want to go back and rewatch the first season and give it another shot.
Same. I'm with you on that. Makes me want to rewatch it and see, like, was I too harsh back then? Were my expectations too different? Did I want everything to be connected too much? But I still don't think I'll ever really enjoy Party Thor.
I also do
Team
think
Party Thor.
I also think the daily release helps a lot. Like, even though we all watched this for the first time as a binge, like rewatching the episodes daily, it's so nice to just kind of like sit down with my breakfast and just have like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of moment. Yeah. And I think like having these daily, especially at this time of year, was a really, really smart decision, because you don't have to wait another week to see whether or not you actually like a particular episode. If you don't like an episode, there's a new one tomorrow. And I think that was a really smart decision.
And also think about like where we were back when these episodes released in terms of the fandom, and our job on Phase Zero as well. It was a weekly release where every single piece of Marvel media was consumed and dissected and analyzed and talked about and looked at through a lens of like, what do we talk about? What do we take away from this? That sort of stuff. In addition to just trying to enjoy it, those things were undeniably there much more strongly than they are right now. I think I have certainly. I imagine if we went back and listened to our What If episodes, the theories we'd be spinning, all this crazy stuff. Like right now, I feel like we're just having more fun. Like if this Kahori episode came out in season 1, it would have been so weirdly received. Maybe not. Maybe it would have been really well received. But I feel like a lot of this stuff, I don't know. Maybe season 2 is just better. But yeah. I don't know. I do want to rewatch season 1 and see if we were a little too harsh or just had weird expectations and lenses we were looking at stuff through back then.
The level of speculation probably has changed a little bit. I think that if this episode had been in season 1, you would have instantly had people, especially if it had happened in like after Comic-Con 2021, like it definitely would have been like some real, so is she gonna show up at Echo or nah, would have been like the big takeaway from this episode. And we're not even getting that this time, which I mean, probably for the better. Also, I remember when, just to add a little fun aside, Jenna, you remember when the Funko soda leaked of this?
Yes.
That was like super duper funny, because all of us like, what the heck is this? And they just
because then Marvel had to put out a press release and be like, this is a new character in What If season 2. Like, we know that you're not even getting a date for this show and you don't know when it's coming out, but like, let's explain why we have merchandise already for this character. Which now I'm sad now, because I'm like, I would have bought that if I knew I was going to love this episode this much. It's like now it's probably much harder to find.
Yes, and I remember Amber Midthunder like seeing this online and being like, "Oh, this is cool," and then all of the fans going, "Are you playing Kahori in live action? Are you doing?" And I'm just like, she can't just think it's cool. All right, then. I mean, if she would like to, sure, why not? But also, no, like guys, we're in a completely different space. I think Brandon's got a point there.
It is cool to see this time period, this world explored in the Marvel sense, with the Space Stone's influence on it. And I think the animation was my favorite part of the episode. I think that there were some stunning visuals. This is one you can go get a bunch of screenshots for, and they look like just super cinematic. And that final fight, man, where he whooped those dudes' asses, man. I'll tell you what, man. I don't have too much to say about it. I think that this being a kind of standalone to the point that it is a whole new character and batch of characters that aren't Marvel characters. We can't do the normal dissection we usually do. There aren't like, oh, well, this was from the Winter Soldier or whatever. This was just, it was what it was. And if Jamie said what I said about this episode, I'd be like, well, you hated it. But now I finally see how Jamie feels when you just like something. Anything else we want to say about episode 6?
I do want her in live action as soon as possible. Like, I want to see how those powers translate. And then, Aaron, you say what you want to say.
Oh, I was going to say, all you clowns out there could be 2 native heroes in MCU. Calm down. Calm down.
Yeah, listen, I saw that clip, too.
Oh, boy.
They couldn't be more different.
No.
So, matters.
For sure.
Like, I mean, there are 75 white dudes running around that are super strong. Like,
there are 3 white dudes named Chris. Like, we're fine.
Listen, I'm just saying, we have a Tony Stark. We had a Tony Stark. He's a guy who wears an iron suit, and then there's a guy from another planet, but he carries a hammer that's made of metal, I think. So do we need both of them? They're not that different. But they're different enough. Maybe it's cool that they're both there. Why? Like, you just wouldn't say that, would you?
No.
No, you would. Well, if you saw the clip, you know. If you don't, you're like, what the hell are they talking about? Don't even worry about it. Just continue your blissful, peaceful existence. If you missed that clip, yeah. Ori and Echo should definitely coexist, and I think that whether they meet or not, whatever. There's room.
I knew when I was watching the screener, I was like, there's a certain subset at the center of the internet that is going to have a lot of weird things to say. And so not having even seen the tweet that y'all are talking about, I'm like unsurprised that has already happened.
Oh, it's not just a
breaking
tweet.
news. People are racist.
It's not just a tweet. It's
Oh,
from
boy.
Yeah, whatever. Well, we are this.
Season
Don't
3,
give them
Echo
any
teaches
more-
Sakaar how to use a gun. Let's go.
Yo, Kalori went like full Neo from the Matrix at one point, and I was like, "Dang!" All right, y'all. Well, I feel like that's our episode. That's our What If episode. We got one more What If episode coming, and that's gonna be our last episode of 2023, and then we're on to 2-4. All right, y'all. Look at that Loki sweater making an appearance. Jamie, any last words for today's show?
No, I hope everyone's having a good, that weird holiday week between Christmas and New Year's where you just don't know what to do with yourself. I hope that, unlike us, you don't have to work so that your brains are resting, because my brain feels like it's about to seep out of my ear holes, but I'm having fun. Love talking What If with you guys, and I can't wait to hear what everyone else thinks about these episodes.
Jenna Anderson.
It's at Hey It's Gentleman on social media. I echo everything Jamie said, down to the feeling like your brain's seeping out of your ears. I'm very excited to record our final episode for the last 3 episodes, because I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait to talk about this season as a whole. It's gonna be great. Aaron?
It's at someone like Hornet. Go actually just steal Jenna's bit. Apparently, there is an X-Men 97 prequel book coming out that for next year you're probably going to need to go read. So go find that.
More homework. Everybody loves the homework.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen. Now I'm gonna go check that out. I loved when they did those Prelude comics based on like you'd have like Thor and Iron Man comics and stuff, and Captain America and all that. I love those. I don't think they do them anymore.
They do not.
Yeah, no.
Part of it is the release dates. Like, since everything changed and like nothing was consistent of when we were getting anything, it's like you can't really schedule a prelude and then have it come out like 6 months before or after a thing. So
that's true. Are those
I have it
comics
right in front of
considered
me.
canon?
Last season, the Harley Quinn did it. They had a little insert.
This is a Marvel show. Cut the mic. Are those considered canon? Those Prelude comics? I don't not officially.
I remember one thing from it spoiled the Red Skull thing in Infinity War, but other than that, there's so much of it that's like, this is almost so meaningless. It's like barely even canon.
They were usually never really needle movers for the story.
No.
Well, all right, y'all. That's our What If show. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're all having a wonderful week between the holidays and getting through it, and your brains stay between your ears and don't sleep out. Thank you so much for hanging with us. What if we do this again one more time on New Year's Eve for season 2 recap of What If? See you there.